All right. Wow. Welcome to House Edge Live. It's John here from Casino Gaming Central. I bet you Badger Baron and California Craps Club are having two completely different days. It's minus 13 in Wisconsin. Good Lord. I thought I had it bad over here when it was in the 20s yesterday. Damn, dude, that's cold. All right, let's get after it. How about the game last night, by the way? I had a feeling Indiana was going to win the game, and I thought it would be kind of close. I didn't think it was going to be that close. I thought maybe a touchdown or two. But, man, Miami's tough. They got a couple of guys who are number 4 in Miami that I wouldn't mind having on my teams. I'm telling you what. That running back and that defensive end, holy crap. Those guys are players, man. Whew. Good game, though. And mad respect for Indy's quarterback. That dude, Martinez, man, I'm telling you what. He took a beating last night and still played hard. I mean, that guy, he'll be good wherever he goes to. He'll be a good one in the pros, I think. That guy's a gamer. So, good game, good way to end college season last night. Love when a Big Ten team wins it. I went to a Big Ten school, so of course that's my jam over there. So, all right, let's jump into our show here today, and I got a couple of things that I hope are kind of you're 44 degrees in San Fran. So let me ask you this. I have to ask this question because Jen's here, so I get to ask this. When the Seahawks won the Super Bowl back in 2013, it was in Jersey, and it was like what? It was basically snowing. It was so damn cold over there, and they're like, never again are we doing a Super Bowl in the cold weather, right? And here we go again in California doing a cold weather Super Bowl. Is that what we all want? I mean, I know it's a good stadium and all, but is that what everybody wants, a 45-degree Super Bowl? I don't hate it. I'll be honest with you, I don't hate it. But I do not want the weather to become a thing, right? I don't want somebody to, I don't know. I just don't want to have a turnover fest or some other bullshit because of bad weather. I'm just kind of surprised that they gave it to Levi twice. Anyway, I know you're probably stoked about that, Jen, but I'm curious as to the NFL's thought process there. Anyway. Let's I'm getting my voice back still. I'm still a little bit hoarse and froggy, but let's jump on in here and talk about a couple of it. No snow, just rain. Okay, that's just considered cold. Yeah, we don't want rain this weekend. We don't because Frisco's got a lot of rain, right? I mean, it's a lot of rain. It's like up here in Seattle, right? It's typically a little bit more soggy. So, anyway, let's hop on in and jump into the ABCs of gambling again today. And the reminder, of course, why we do the show and the filters. I say this all the time, and I hope you're listening to me. The filters you should be watching the shows through, right? Understand, the casinos exist to bankrupt you. That's it. They're here to take your money. No other reason, right? Every business wants your money. Nobody wants to take it all. The casinos exist, and they will just bleed you dry, right? And if you get halfway good at it, you're out. They ban you. It's a hard battle to fight because you're always up against the edge. You're up against all sorts of things, right? So we give you what we hope are the right tools. Oh, I went the wrong way. I always do that. Went the wrong way. Me left. I hit the wrong button again. That's still the wrong one. I want this one. We try and give you tools that I think work mentally. These are all, for the most part, mental tools to combat what you're going to face at the casino, right? Your bankroll is a physical thing, obviously, right? But your relationship with risk, your ability to identify opportunity, your level of discipline, the goals that you set or don't set, the way you track and keep your emotions in check, all of that shrinks the external edges in the house. The lights, the sound, the music, the I have to pee but I don't want to stop playing. All that stuff is controlled by these things. The bridge really is like a mental toughness framework, if anything else, other than bankroll and the physicality of strategy. Though everything else in here really is about strengthening your mind. And that's what I want to get us to, is strengthening our minds throughout this talk. So we are in the midst of a series here that I'm calling the ABCs of Gambling. And what I'm basically doing is going through the alphabet and finding a few fun or interesting things that start with each letter and going through it. So hopefully you're getting something out of it. Let me know in the chat, by the way, the comments. If you're enjoying the series, if you're getting something out of it, let me know. If you want me to we're only on letter J, so we have another 16 letters to go, right? So if you want to change things up a little bit, feel free to let me know. And here's our letter today is going to be J. And Yeah, Jay's going to be interesting, I think. We got a couple of fun letters in here. It's going to be a shorter episode than normal, but I got a couple of bonus things at the end that I think are gonna juice things up a little bit to coin one of our words there. So why don't we just jump ahead and get right into it? We're going to be on the wrong side. I hit the wrong button again. My God. There we go. All right. So for Jay, I think one of the things I want to take a look at is jackpots. I have to get to. Oh, this button here will do it, right? There we go. I'm learning my new system. Jackpots. They potentially have positive EV. At the right threshold, at the right place, at the right time, people can recognize this. And I want to talk a little bit about how people recognize that. We'll talk about juice and vig as it relates to a couple things. One, sports betting. Two, staying connected and having actual people juice, right? That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. We'll talk about my favorite topic, joint bankrolls. We'll look at the risk, reward, benefits of playing together. We'll look at a thing called the J-curve strategy. It's not on the list here, but J-curve strategy and junk hands. Junk hands can be played in a number of ways. They can be looked at in a number of ways too, in a couple of different games. So we'll talk about some junk hands, and then of course we got a couple of bonus J's there at the end. Some long range J's to close the show out. So yeah, let's get after here. First one is going to be hello. Come on, come to the next screen, computer. Come to the next screen. There we go. All right. Wow. The button was like a lag behind. All right, let's talk about jackpots. Progressive jackpots aren't necessarily lottery tickets. Okay, they're kind of a math problem, really. And sometimes the math says, yeah, go ahead and play. And my brother actually was a guy, I can tell his story a little bit, who played for a while there, a lot of these high-limit progressive slots, and he was kind of a hunter. And he did a really good job at the better than I could have ever imagined. And I thought, how are you doing this, dude? You know, and he had a way of kind of finding them and sussing them out, and it worked really well until the tax man came and knocking, and he had 95 W2Gs that to turn in, and he didn't like that very much. But anyway, the way these things work, right? The RNG, the random number generator, assigns the same probability to hitting that jackpot on every single spin, right? And a machine that's paid out just now is just as likely to hit again as one that hasn't paid in months. There's no difference in that thing, right? And how that works. It doesn't know, the RNG doesn't know, doesn't care, none of that, right? So how do advantage players hunt the jackpots down? And there's a math problem behind this. It's not really the machine's mood of the day or whatever, right? The jackpots, they work by taking a small percentage of every bet and they add it to the prize pool. Right, and I think it grows and grows and grows. The base game is still the same thing. The RNG runs the same way. On the house edge doesn't change, but the jackpot grows. And at some point, and it's a knowable number, it's a calculable number within a range, the EV of playing turns positive. Right, the jackpot's grown large enough that the potential payout multiplied by the probability of hitting it exceeds what you're paying to chase on it. Right, there's also machines that have what they call a must-hit by jackpot. They're even more interesting. They're progressives that are programmed to hit before it gets to some certain amount, right? A jackpot must hit by $500, and it's currently at 485 or whatever, right? It's different math, by the way. If it's got to hit at 5,000 and it's at 49.50 versus if it's got to hit at 5,000 and it's at 3,000, right? You hunt those things down and figure them out when to play. And as that ceiling approaches, the remaining prize distribution concentrates. The pro jackpot hunters, they descend on those machines and they grind them until they hit the damn thing, right? So what do you look for? Well, first, know what the break-even point is for those progressives, right? And that information actually is online for almost every game. You can hunt it down online and figure out the way that's coded up and what those thresholds are. And second, understand this. Even positive EV jackpot play, there's brutal variance, right? You can still, you can be mathematically kind of correct and still lose an entire session's worth of money before that thing hits. It's not a guarantee that it's going to hit in your time, but you're within that window, right? You're hunting down those windows. And third, the must hit by machines, when they get near the ceiling, they're the best opportunities. But you'll watch, and the casino, Joey showed me this, right? In the casinos, you'll watch the competition for those things as people are milling around and hunting those machines down. It's like the episode of Friends where Phoebe got in a fight with the old lady. It is literally this. I'm on the wrong thing again. All right, offset left, offset right. There we go. It's literally like that episode of Friends where they're fighting over a slot machine, right? They will find it. So anyway. Know the framework. Just look it up online. Know which ones have the thresholds, what you're looking for. And at the casinos, you'll see them. You'll start seeing that. You'll start seeing people hover. You know you're in the right area. And again, you still may burn a bankroll chasing that thing, but at least you're in a potential window. I think it's important to kind of suss that out, but be comfortable with that because it's not always going to be a thing. And again, they're not just about luck building up, right? They're about math crossing a threshold. So know the break-even point, or that you're just donating to somebody who does, and that's an important bit of it. So there's that one. All right, next one is going to be, let's see, we're going to go here. This is going to be talking about juice, and yeah, juice is cool. Remember this: every bet you make, and we've talked about this a number of times. Every bet you make has got a silent partner that's taken a cut, right? We call it the VIG in sports betting. Casino gaming, it's the edge. On tables, we call it house edge. In sports betting, we call it the VIG or the juice. Okay. In life, by the way, juice is who you know. Understanding juice in all its forms is understanding how the game is played. We'll start with sports betting. So let's say you want to bet $100 on the Seahawks, right? And the line's minus 110. What this basically means is you're risking 110 to win 100. Okay, if you win, you make 100. You got to bet 110 to win 100. If you lose, you're out the whole 110. Okay, so where does the extra $10 go? That's the juice. That's the sports book. The sports book keeps that slice of the pie, right? That's called the juice. It's called the VIG, 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 short for vigorish. Okay, the VIG is how they guarantee profit no matter what happens, right? They get equal action on both sides of the game. They collect juice from the losers. They pay the winners. In this case, sports betting, the casino, it's almost like the juice in a poker game, right? The casino's not gambling. They aren't taking a side, really, like a normal game in a casino. They're just brokering the bets effectively, and they take their slice off everything. That's kind of how that works, right? You're not betting against them. They're setting the lines. We're all betting, and they're just taking a slice off the edge there. So what it means for you, standard minus 110, you got to win about 52.5% of your bets just to break even. Not 50%, about 52%. The juice is that difference. Every percentage point below 52 is money just flowing into the books, right? Smart bettors, you want to shop around. Shop for better juice, right? Some books will go minus 105 versus minus 110 or minus 109 or 108. That drops the break even, right? Down to 51%. And it doesn't sound like much, but over thousands of bets. And guys that are doing sports betting for a living are betting thousands of bets, right? That's the difference between a modest profit, grinding out those wins, and significant loss, right? The sports, the sharps, they call them, they're not just picking better games. They're mostly paying less juice. And that's what you find is that they're paying less juice. I think it's in your best interest. I put their banner up here on screen. I don't have any relationship with these guys, by the way. I'm in love with this channel called Unabated. They're very, very good. The guy is a little bit like me in how he breaks things down. He's got software that he uses. You can buy into their system and pay a monthly fee and get access to their data. And again, they're not telling you the Hawks are going to win. They don't give a shit if the Hawks win or not. They're looking at this line versus that line and getting you to play in the right spots. And when lines get what he calls juicy, time to jump in. And you can hunt those things down. They have the algorithm. They wrote the code. They have complex software to help you suss all this crap out. That's where you want to go. Go to somebody like them. And again, when you start watching their shows, you'll see other sports bettors come up. You can kind of pick your poison. But I like these guys. I think it's in your best interest to get there. If you want to be a sports bettor, learn more about it. Great system. And also, by the way, one of our good friends, Chris from Dice Degen, is a major sports bettor. And that guy's got models and algorithms all over the place, right, that he really knows quite a bit about. So he's another resource for everybody. I wish he would go back to doing more sports betting. on the thing. All right. Let's talk about the other kind of juice now. So the other kind of juice is connections. In the casino world, like, having juice, right? It means you have relationships that unlock value. Relationships that unlock value. Your host who upgrades your room, right? The floor supervisor who rates your play more generously. The slot attendant who tips you off about where that slot might be, right? Where the must-hit games are. The pit boss who comps your dinner without being asked. Like, this is a little bit of personality juice, right? It's not sleazy. It's how the ecosystem in a casino works that way, right? They're in the hospitality businesses, and they have discretion, right? If you're a worker in a casino, workers have juice too, right? That's how people slide from job to job, and they can stay in the game, so to speak, right? People who build relationships, who are pleasant, who tip appropriately, they become known, they get better treatment, right? The math of the games doesn't change, but the total value prop does change. And I'll use, again, my friend Kevin Farm, who's watching today, he's a good example of this, right? He knows everybody. This is a guy, by the way, who, unlike me, and Jen, you can vouch for me on this, right? I'm a fun person. I like to think I'm a nice, fun person, right? But I'm not an outgoing person. I'm not a shake hands with everybody I see kind of a guy, right? I don't necessarily make friends with the dealers. I do sometimes, but it's not my goal to make friends with them. Playing with a guy like Kevin, who does talk to people randomly in the mall, right? Talk to somebody in a parking lot. Just, hey, I like your shirt. Where'd you get, like literally like outgoing, right? Kevin gets juice at the casino because he knows the pit bosses by name. He knows the dealers by name. He knows the cocktail waitresses by name, right? I guarantee you there's a little bit of love coming Kevin's way because he treats everybody with respect and love and kindness, and he knows them. He makes it a point to know them. That's interesting, and he builds up the value prop of his play when he's there. So in both senses, right? Juice is about understanding where hidden costs and hidden opportunities might live, right? The VIG, it's a cost most bettors, I think, don't really calculate with enough knowledge. Relationships are an opportunity where players don't cultivate, and I think you should see both clearly. And this winds back to what I said the other day, right, about sports betting. I don't sports bet, and the reason why I don't sports bet, well, there's two. Number one is this: my heart gets into it, right? I have my teams I hate that I cannot put money on. I have teams I love that I put too much money on, right? I feel like the Hawks are going to win this weekend. I should not put 1 cent on that game. I'm honest about that, right? I can't get my heart and brain and my emotions to disconnect from it, so I don't sports bet. I don't know the game of sports betting well enough to put 1 cent on it other than my homer bets, right? When I said to you the other day, don't play games you don't understand, this is what I'm talking about. Until I really consume 100% of what somebody like Unabated is talking about, I will not put 1 red cent out there. You have to make those smart decisions as a person and recognize your limitations, okay? But know that it's a thing. That's what today's talk is about, right? Juice is just a cut you're paying, right? You pay to the book, you pay to the house, or you pay juice to being ignorant, like I would do, right? Reduce the VIG, build the relationships, and stop leaving value on the table. So there's there's juice for you. Let's talk the next about joint bankrolls. One of my favorite things, right? 2 bankrolls, 1 goal. 3 bankrolls, 1 goal. 5, 6, 7, 8 bankrolls, 1 goal. Playing with a partner or a team can double or quad your firepower. It really can. I've watched the Casino Quest Big Birds play and how that works, how it can work when everybody's completely bought in, right? Alternatively, it can destroy a relationship. Money aside, it can destroy a relationship if you guys do it wrong. Here's some thoughts on how to do this right. Now, maybe it's you and your spouse. Maybe it's you and a buddy who loves craps, right? You've heard about professional blackjack teams, of course, right? And wondered how that all works, right? It's joint bankrolls. And they're simply shared gambling funds between a bunch of people. 2 more people, right? And it can be powerful. It can, like I said, it can also be relationship poison. The difference is structure. Start with the benefits of it, right? A larger bankroll means you can play at bigger stakes. You can never sustain those alone. When a team plays and everybody buys in for $2,000 and the team's got $20K, let's just say, you're not playing 64 across anymore, trying for a major roll. You can start out at 640 across. where you're collecting blacks out of the gate. And you can go to a quick 320 regression and hammer a craps table, right? With bigger bankroll, you've got more leeway to get into the different colored chips and make bigger moves, right? Those of us turning $500 into $750 or $1,000, right? The $5,000 bankroll, that becomes $7,500 very quickly, right? And it's you get power in that. You also get some built-in hedging, some built-in coverage. You share the variance, in other words, right? When you're running bad, maybe the other person's running good, and the combined results smooth out until somebody really has that shot, right? In an advantage play situation, the team can cover more tables, more machines, more opportunities than any one person ever could, okay? There are risks, okay? The number one risk is obvious, I think. Money and relationships, they're volatile chemicals, right? Without clear agreements, joint bankrolls will breed resentment. Who decides when to quit? What if one partner wants to take a shot at higher stakes and the other one doesn't? How do we split wins if we didn't contribute equal amounts of money, right? What happens when one person wants out? Well, you got to have a framework about that works, right? First of all, you document everything. Second of all, the contribution amounts become shares. If the buy-in for the team is $1,000, and I put 1,000, and you put 1,000, and you put 1,000, and that person puts in 3, we have 6 shares. That guy gets half the money. That's how that has to work, right? But you got to write that out. You got to write it out. You got to split the profit and loss according to that. You have to have decision making. Who's going to be the leader and decide who stops playing, who jumps in, what the amounts are. How and when do we stop playing? It's all got to be in writing because, not because you don't trust the other people, but because memory's unreliable, right? Money's emotional, and we know the casino is trying to make that worse, okay? Secondly, you separate the bankrolls from your personal funds, right? It's like a business. Everybody puts money in a deposit account. The joint money lives somewhere separate. Nobody dips in. When you play, it's a fresh withdrawal. When you cash out, it goes back. But that's exactly how that has to work, right? And third, we set rules, right? Who's playing from the same session? The bankroll, is it shared right now? Is it we playing separate tables? Are we splitting it? How are we doing it, right? Are we? Is John making the call? Is Jen making the call? Is Ryan making the call? What are the collective stop losses? Okay, professional advantage play teams operate like a business, even though it's not really a business. They operate that way because they're business like they're professionals, and that's what you have to do. You got to separate, and it's hard to do that, right? There's investors, there's players, there's managers. Everybody plays a role. We split money contractually. Everything is tracked meticulously. If you're going to share the gambling funds, adopt something professional, a good mindset. Even if it's just you and your wife or you and your husband betting $25 a hand at the blackjack table, or you and the person next to you splitting the ATS. Understand before that bet goes out there what's going to happen with it. It's really important, okay? Joint bankrolls, they multiply firepower. They divide variance, but only with clarity. I think it's an important piece, okay? Document everything, separate your funds, treat it like a business. Friendships don't really survive fuzzy accounting very well, and I think that's it's an interesting topic to me. You guys make fun of me for talking about team play all the time, but I love team play. I think there's a there. I haven't found the full there yet, but I'm working on it because I think there's something to it when it's done in the correct mindset. All right, let's jump into junk hands. And we all have been there, right? You're going to lose a hand and you know it. The math knows it. The table knows it. The dealer knows it. But here's the thing. What you do next separates winners, grinders, and losers. And you can look down at your blackjack hand. I give this example all the time. You got a 15, dealer's got a 10, and your stomach just does that thing, right? Because you know what's coming, right? It's a junk hand. The math says you're going to lose 75 or whatever percent of the time, no matter what you do. Whether you hit, you're probably going to bust, right? You stand, they're going to make their... It's just one of those things, right? But the thing is, there's no good option for you here, right? Only a less bad option. Hitting the hand is less bad than standing on the hand. It just, whatever. Instead of losing 75% of the time, you'll lose 79% of the time. It's a sliver, but it's better to hit, right? And again, it's not because it wins more. It's because it's the right thing to do. You're not trying to win the hand. You're trying to minimize that damage, right? And this discipline in blackjack junk hands is called acceptance. You make the correct play, you accept the result, you move on to the next hand, and that's it. Junk hands are like the price of admission, right? It's not personal. But you can look at poker, and it's a little different. Junk hands are a little different in poker, right? You look down, you got a 7-2 offsuit. You're like, right? This is, again, what I just did, that's why I don't play poker. Remember I said, again, going back to my old points, don't play games you aren't A, good at, B, know everything about, and C, are prepared to lose money in, right? I don't play poker because I'll get a 7-2 and go, huh, and make that face because I can't control myself, okay? But that 7-2 offsuit hand is classic junk. In a vacuum, that hand's a fold every time. Math says fold the hand, right? But you don't play poker in a vacuum, right? Are you on the button and everybody else is folding to me? Right? The junk hand might be a steal hand, and I could steal opportunity from this thing, right? Has your table image been super tight for the last hour? Well, if it's so, staying in on a shit hand, a junk hand, timing the bluff might be working for you because nobody thinks you'll ever play it, right? Is a specific opponent of yours on tilt, calling too wide? Your junk might be ahead of them, right? Poker junk hands have a little bit of texture to them, I think. Your position matters, the stack sizes matter, the opponent's tendencies matter, your tendencies matter. The math says the hand is shit, and it's a bad starting hand, right? But poker hands reward situational awareness in ways blackjack can't because there's people involved, right? So the discipline is different, right? Knowing when junk is junk and when junk is opportunity in disguise. It requires reads and image awareness and the willingness to fold most of the time while occasionally attacking. So you find yourself maybe on an online poker game, right, or a 1-2 game in real life. Take your lumps. That's how I'm gonna if I ever do this, I'm gonna do it online for pennies or in person for the 1-2 games and burn some bankroll listening. The only way to learn how to play with junk effectively is by working at it, but you got to work at it at low stakes while you're getting those muscles built up, right? It's 2 games, right? Blackjack, poker. They're 2 different kinds of crappy hands, 2 different disciplines. Know which one you're playing and really kind of lean into that, right? And I'll defer, of course, to the poker players in our group to lean into the comment section after the video is played, in live comments today, ways to approach junk hands. There's probably, I'm gonna guess, there's as many hands or videos on YouTube on how to play a junk hand in poker as there are how to play the iron crossing craps. I guarantee it, right? There's a lot of information out there, which I'm not qualified yet to consume. So anyway, in blackjack, junk hands teach acceptance, right? Make the right play, take your medicine. In poker, junk hands teach awareness. Sometimes trash is treasure in disguise, and it's up to us to know the difference there. So, all right, next up, go here. I want to talk about the J curve. Now, is Jen still with us? I'm sure Jen knows all about this. This is an investment. You see a lot of this talk about in investments, right? The J curve it's an interesting method. You start strong, you scale back if you need to, then you build with momentum, right? The J curve isn't really about chasing, it's about riding the wave intelligently. And I always tell you guys, lose a little when you lose, win a lot when you win. The J curve is one way to approach that. We have done a lot. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen, aren't I? Let me go back here and hit this. I always hit the wrong freaking button. What's going on? The J curve? No. Back screen. This way. There we go. Okay, that's right. God, the buttons are reversed on my thing. It's messing me up. All right. So the J curve again, we start strong, we scale back, we build with momentum. We don't chase. Okay? This is a way, like I always say, to start small, lose a little when it's going bad, win a lot when it's going good. Most strategies fall into 2, maybe 3 camps, right? Flat betting or progressions, either chasing the negative when you lose, up as you lose, or positive progression where you hammer as you win, right? Changing bets based on the results. Some people play a regression system where they regress first and they hammer. The J curve is kind of a regression, okay? It's a very specific regression because it regresses on loss to get started, okay? It works with the natural rhythm of a session instead of fighting against it, okay? Here's the shape. You imagine the letter J, right? You start the top left. Your session opens maybe with a bet a little bit higher end of your comfort range. Not reckless, but confident, right? If you win early, that's great. You've captured the value, right, of your win. But if you lose, you don't chase. You curve down. You reduce your bet size a little bit to preserve bankroll during that bad streak. That's the bottom of the J. So instead of like Whalen does, or these other guys that do laddering systems, they go up as they lose. The J curve, you go down a little bit as you lose. You limit damage, okay? When the win starts coming and you start working that upward swing, you gradually increase the bets. This is the regression up and pull. You're upping and pulling, upping and pulling. You're at 3 units, goes to 4, and you pull 2. 4 unit win goes to 5, you pull 4, right? You start bringing your bets up as momentum goes, pressing when your luck is running in that direction, okay? Again, there's nothing predictive about this. This is gambling. Every outcome is unique. But if you catch a bad run, you're going to bet less as it's bad and not lose more money than you should. When the run gets good, you're going to bet a little bit more each time as the run stays good. As soon as the run goes bad, you reset and start over again. You reset your bankroll like Whalen talks about, and you start over again. That's the J curve. Seeing your money kind of in this mode helps you preserve and attack at the same time. And why does it work psychologically? Well, first, if you start good, you get value right away. You win the first bet, fantastic. You get value off the gate, right? You can win in the first one, do a positive progression. That's all good. I'm down with that, right? That's what I try to do. A lot of sessions begin that way. Awesome. If you're flat betting small, right, you leave money on the table too much during the good opportunity, right? Secondly, this can limit damage during the cold streaks, right? Because instead of stubbornly betting the same amount or laddering up when you don't have the bankroll to ladder up, you bet, instead of bleeding that way, you're acknowledging the reality of it and preserving your resources as you go. And then you build, right? The build phase feels like you earned it. You feel like you've trudged through the battle the right way and you've earned it. And you're not arbitrarily betting big. You're scaling up because it's time to scale up. It's scaling because your session has justified the scale, right? The discipline here is limits. Right? Define your limits in advance. How high do I start? How low do I go? How do I up my bets later on? Right? If your upswing play is a parlay, you're going to get hurt. If your upswing play is up 1 unit, you may never get there. Find what your balance is, right? How do you define the wins are coming to trigger when it's time to build the bets? You got to make that definition yourself. Is it 2 in a row and now we start going up? At what point does that up curve go? Okay? Without those definitions, and again, I can't define them for you, but without the definitions in your mind that match your bankroll, we talked about way back in the bridge, what is my bankroll capable of? Playing a J-curve system, you have to really understand your bankroll and where you start, when you decrease, and how you build. Your risk tolerance takes that into account, what those amounts of money should be. So the J-curve might be the same shape for everybody, but not the same amounts, not the same trigger points. Those trigger points on the J there are yours and yours alone. Okay? Without those, the J curve is an excuse for betting emotionally. Okay? So, just saying, I'm following the J curve, but you're actually chasing, it only works if you honor it. Okay? So a simple framework might look like this. Start at 3 units, right? After 2 losses in a row, drop to 2 units. After 4 more losses, you drop down to a unit. So you see you're going to go down, but you're not going down like, falling off a cliff. You're going down in kind of a march, right? Once you're net positive, return to 2 units, okay? And then after each winning streak of 2 or 3 plus, add a unit, add a unit, add a unit, and you cap that somewhere. Maybe 5 or 6 units, you stop. That's a specific enough way to execute this. And again, that's very conservative, but it's specific enough as an example to give you kind of okay, that's maybe how I would do it. Or maybe I would change those numbers as we go. Okay? Build your own rules, write them down, follow them. The J curve, I think, does a good job of riding momentum instead of fighting variance. It kind of works with it. Start confident, preserve money when it feels cold to you, build it up when it gets hotter, and stay within your own rules. And that structure prevents the J curve from becoming chasing. I think it's an important little deal right there. All right, next up we have a couple of bonus J's for you. And before we round out the full thing, let's just do a little speed round here. So I'm going to talk about this later, but jacks are better. It's the foundational video poker game, right? And the nice thing about jacks are better machines is the math is transparent, right? And also nice about video poker is that your decisions actually matter, right? Every other slot is an RNG, purely random. You're seeing a movie as they play out. Jacks are better. You have a choice. You can get dealt a royal flush and throw it away. So the RNG can't account for that, right? So your decisions do matter. You find the machines with a 9 to 6 pay table. It returns 99.5% with perfect strategy. Better than most blackjack tables. Okay, we'll do a deep dive in video poker when we get to V. But the homework is this: learn how to read pay tables. Walk the casino and find the 9 to 6 machines versus the 8 to 5 machines. The difference, by the way, that gap between nearly breaking even and definitely losing is enormous. The numbers are right there on the machine, so you want to go ahead and find those. The next thing, the quick one here, is junkets, and these are organized casino trips, right? Where the house covers the travel, the lodging, the whole thing. They get a little private jet, off you go, right? And they exchange that for committed play. You're not going to do a junket to Caesars and hop over and play at MGM. It ain't happening. You're living at Caesars, right? They know you, right? They know your expected loss. They offer you a percentage back in perks, the flight, the stay, the food, and hopefully you'll play more than you would have otherwise, right? Again, nothing happens to you just because, right? They figure you're coming in, right? For the right player, junkets are a great value. Vacations funded by your action. You're going to give them anyway, so why not take the free stuff, right? For the wrong player, it's a trap that'll commit you to way more gambling than you intended to do, okay? Again, we touched on that back in host relationships, but if you're approached for a junket, do the math. What is the EV? What do they expect you to play? What is the Theo they have on you? If your Theo is 1,000 or 2 or 2,500, that's the expectation, or that'll be the last junket you ever take, okay? But if you're going to play that much anyway, take the deal. Why not, right? It's a great way to have action. Typically, a junket's going to be with people you know, so it's all good. All right. Alrighty. So let's go. Let's go wrap it up here. That is it for letter J. I want you to take some of this stuff away from this, right? The best gaming decisions aren't always on the strategy chart. Okay. Sometimes it's recognizing, right, when a jackpot has crossed into maybe positive territory, right? Sometimes it's about understanding the juice and how to find better juice at the sports books, right? And building relationships. Sometimes it's about playing as a team with real structure. Sometimes it's about accepting hands that you can't win and being like, well, that's what it is, right? Sometimes it's taking that same hand and recognizing that it might be an opportunity in disguise. Sometimes it's about riding momentum with discipline. Calculated risks are still risks, but calculated is the part that you control. Okay, tomorrow it's letter K, knowledge compounding. We'll talk about Kelly criterion. We might spend more time on that than anything else so far. Why tracking things matters and how knowledge gaps are bleeding your bankroll. So hopefully this changes how you think about these things: jackpot, juice, junk hands. And if so, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. And if not, give it to somebody else. Let's share the video with somebody who is chasing progressives and doing it based on feelings, right? Making bad choices based on what we call feelings. So if you know folks like that, tell them, come over here and watch. We're a safe place, right? I may be a little bit opinionated sometimes, but we're a safe place. I'm here for you. All right, let me go ahead and do a little bit of Q&A. I'll search for Q's. Let's see. Jen says, "Oh, good advice. Yeah, stock markets are reacting to the squabble with Europe. That'll, again, as everything does, it always. The market's very fickle, right? It'll always even out. But today, don't look. Maybe today's one of those days where you don't want to take a look at it, right? I don't see any more Q's out here. A lot of good chatter, it looks like. Jen says, love the saying, lose a little when you lose, win a lot when you win. Like that's. If only it was that easy, right? That's the mentality that I have, though, right? I have this, I don't want to get my ass kicked anymore. I'm just tired of it. And I've been on this really long losing streak, to be honest with you guys. I've been on I haven't won in a crap session in probably 6 in a row now. I'm probably, at least my last 6 sessions have been down. Not down by a lot, but down. I've been just like losing 100, 150, 60, 300. I can't seem to catch it, right? So variance get you. Right, I had a great run there for a good couple of years where I was winning 80%. Now it's catching up to me. Right, that's what happens. We are playing the long game. We are playing the long game in the end. All right, I think that's it. I think I have my my little bonus inspirational quote for you, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. So I'm going to get this right the first time. Press the right button, and look at this. Look at the magic, right? I saw this on a commercial during the game last night. I thought, what a great say. This is from Claude, right? Claude is an AI tool that I actually love and use. Their commercial, this is their tagline, and man, it's perfect. It says, oh God, what did I do? I went the wrong way. What did I do? Oh, I hit the button. Hang on. I want you to see the words again. Go back, forward. What happened? What happened? What did I do? Did I close? Oh, did I close the screen? I did. Hold on. What in the hell? Johnny? This is such a great saying. I want you to see it. Me offset right, me offset left. Oh, I closed the... There we go. Now it's back. Is it back? There we go. All right. Sorry. This is their quote. And because AI, of course, problem solvers. Today is a terrible day to be a problem. I love that line. I was saying last week that you're either part of the steamroller or part of the pavement. This is like part 2 of that. Today is a terrible day to be a problem because I attack, me, I attack problems. That's why I have a channel. I attack the gambling world, right, as though it's a puzzle I could actually solve. I attack coding. I attack app building. No problem I can't solve. That's my positive attitude all the time. So I think this is a great little way to kind of march yourself forward. So today is a terrible day to be a problem. Go on that. All right. You guys have a great Tuesday. Tomorrow's hump day. I'll see you then. Letter K is tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Love y'all. God bless everybody. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.